If you're looking for your new favourite drugstore concealer, I've got you covered. Today I'm testing my Holy Grail concealer up against 3 other Revolution branded concealers. I'll be showing you application, wear test and whether they live up to their claims. So just a quick note before we start, to make this fair, I made sure I wore neutral eyeshadow, no mascara on my bottom eyelashes, that's to avoid fallout and flakes, and also I didn't use powder, so we're really putting the products to the test. Let the battle commence. First up, I'm testing Revolution's Conceal and Hydrate. This retails for £7 for 13 grams, and it's the cheapest product that I test today. So on this concealer, the doe foot applicator is really quite large, and I find it hard to work with, so instead I'm going to be tapping the product onto the back of my hand and applying with my fingers. Despite being the shade C3, this concealer comes off a little lighter than others I've had in the same shade. You need a couple of coats of this concealer to get rid of any darkness, but it definitely brightens the eyes. I don't actually find the product hydrating. It dries down matte and a little powdery, so not great for dry under eyes. By the end of the day, the product had worn off a fair amount and gathered in some areas, and you can also see some darkness peeking through. Not the best, but not the worst. It's been out a few years now, and it's the sister product to the original Conceal and Define from Revolution. It claims to be more hydrating as it contains hyaluronic acid. However, I wouldn't say it's that hydrating. It's still a relatively dry product. For example, on me, it does tend to sit in my fine lines and cling to dry patches. So there are 4 major pros to this. The first is that it's really good value for money. You get a lot of product for the money. Second, it has a lovely brightening effect. Third, great for sensitive skin. I've had no irritation with this product. And fourth, it builds up to medium to full coverage, which is obviously what a lot of people are looking for. So the main cons of this product are that it is dry, which I've obviously mentioned before. It can leave a powdery finish, which isn't great for dry, aging skin. The doe foot applicator also isn't the best. It's not easy to apply your makeup with, but of course that can be easily remedied with a brush or a beauty blender. So I've just pulled up the website here, and it says it's designed for dry skin. The sheer satin finish won't settle into fine lines, and the doe foot applicator allows for a smooth, delicate application. So I don't agree with that claim. I have drier skin and I find that it does settle into my fine lines. And the doe foot applicator is not easy to work with. I can't use it directly on my under eyes, so I use my fingers instead. So next up we have Revolution Pro's Ultimate Radiant Under Eye Concealer. It retails for £8 for 4.5ml. Now this makes it a lot more expensive than the first product, so it's a third of the size, so that means it would be £24 to have a similar size product to the original Conceal and Hydrate. This one's got a lovely small doe foot applicator, the smallest of all the ones tested today, and it really gets into the corners, so it's easy to work with, and I usually apply with the applicator directly. It's quite a fluid, hydrating concealer, and so it's easy to spread. And you can see this is a much better shade match for me, with the peachiness cancelling out any darkness. I mean, big difference between the concealed and unconcealed side here. It gives a lovely radiant satin finish. Just one coat gives medium coverage. End of the day, it's still looking decent and has worn off evenly rather than in patches. So if you watched my last video, Essential Cruelty-Free Makeup at the Drugstore, you'll have seen this product featured and you'll know that I absolutely love it. It works really great for my skin type. The product contains hyaluronic acid for the moisturising properties of that, niacinamide to even out skin tone, and vitamin C for brightening. So there are a lot of pros for this product. The doe foot applicator is a great size, easy to work with. It gives a really nice, radiant, hydrating finish. It also wears off evenly rather than in patches or clinging to any areas. And it also has a really nice peach tone. So this helps act as a colour corrector for your under eyes, helping to get rid of any darkness. So of course there are a few cons. Obvious one being it may not be the best choice for oily skin because it is really hydrating. And also it is expensive compared to other Revolution concealers. However, it's still a great price for the drugstore and concealers in general, especially for the quality. And lastly, I'm not sure if you can see, but the product does gather around here. And that means it's quite easy to get concealer kind of coming out of the product on the edges and getting into your makeup bag and things like that, which obviously isn't ideal. So again, pulling up the claim for this product, Revolution say, it's the best liquid concealer to brighten, colour correct and illuminate fatigued eyes whilst helping to diminish the appearance of fine lines. The unique doe foot applicator has been specifically designed to fit comfortably under the eye area with precise and easy application. And I 100% agree with that. It is bright and colour correct. My eyes look radiant, no longer tired. And yeah, the doe foot applicator I've referenced as well as being really easy to work with. So I also tested out Revolution's newest concealer, which is the IRL Filter Finish Soft Matte Concealer in C4. And this product retails for $6.99 for 6ml. So it is a lot cheaper than the prior concealer when you factor in how much product you get, but it is obviously more expensive than the original Conceal and Hydrate, which is a more budget product. So the doe foot applicator was perfectly sized to work with and also the most flexible of the 4 concealers tested today. Now the texture of this one is more hydrating than Conceal and Hydrate, but not as serum-like as the Radiant Under Eye Concealer, but it's still very light. You can see it was super quick to cover up any darkness and gives a really natural finish. It's probably the easiest concealer to work with that I've tested in this video. Great for weekday mornings when you're in a rush. 6 hours later, it had started to gather slightly and worn off a little, but it still looks quite good. So one thing I quickly wanted to mention about this product is I use the shade C4, and in the Revolution concealer at the beginning I used the shade C3. Now I find that Revolution branded concealers tend to run a little bit lighter than Revolution Pro concealers. So that means that if you usually get a C3 in Revolution Pro, you might want to opt for a C4 in Revolution branded products. It's a little bit confusing because you think you'd be the same shade across the range. I also know that the foundation and concealers don't necessarily match in tone either, even if they are supposedly the same shade. But of course, please do test this out for yourself. If you can get your hands on any swatches, any samples in places like Superdrug or your drugstore, that always helps out. So if you didn't like the foundation in this range, don't let this put you off. This is a completely different product, completely different formula, and I absolutely love this one. Formula contains hyaluronic acid, so it is hydrating. I'd say not as hydrating as the Ultimate Radiant Under Eye Concealer, but so much more hydrating than the Conceal and Hydrate Revolution Concealer. If you do have dry eyes, then I'd say this might be a better concealer for your blemishes. It works great to cover up any kind of spots or redness on your face. I mean, I also like it as a under eye concealer, but I'd say that you could use it in so many different ways, so it's worth testing. So the pros are that it's got a flexible applicator, it's oil-free, it's really quick and easy to apply, it leaves a really nice natural soft matte finish, and gives you medium to full coverage. And there's only really 2 cons, and those are that it could be too drying for some skin types, and that it does occasionally sit into fine lines, leaving patches of darkness, but again, that's completely down to skin type. So pulling up the claim from Revolution, they say the ultimate instant coverage concealer to filter out blemishes, dark circles and fine lines for 16 hours. Now I partly agree with this. I think it does filter out blemishes and dark circles. It's really quick and easy to use for your face and under eyes. Fine lines, well, I think that it perhaps does start to sit in them as the day goes on. And the 16-hour claim, well, without powder, in my 6-hour wear test, it had started to slightly wear off. So I would say this probably isn't the case. So last up is Revolution's Hydrate Concealer. It retails for £8 for 3ml, making it the most expensive product we tried today when you take into account how much product there is within the packaging. However, I would say because it's a more fluid concealer, it might actually last a longer time, so it is hard to compare in that way. This is one of those concealers with an applicator sponge attached, so you twist the bottom of the product to release the concealer. I personally find this quite messy, which you'll be able to see. The concealer has almost started to ooze out of the packaging, which means it's quite messy in your makeup bag and can get all over your fingers, but that's just the applicator style. This is also quite a peach-toned concealer, but you can see it almost disappears into nothing. As you spread it, the coverage becomes very light. The finish is glowy and my under eyes feel hydrated, but it's just very light coverage. Any darkness you have will definitely show through. I find you can't really build this one up either, as it would crease too much. I find that if you don't shake the product beforehand, the formula sometimes separates a little, which can mean you just get a bit of an oil slick as opposed to a richer, creamier concealer. This concealer had disappeared pretty much within an hour or 2, and so by the end of the wear test it had completely gone. So I've got another comment about shade names here. Instead of using the normal shade ranges of C3, C4 and so on, Revolution have instead called the shades as to their tone. So for example, I've got the shade medium light, and this made it a little bit hard for me to find the right product because I'd never picked a product with that shade name before. When I got this product and swatched it, I did think it was a little bit dark, but because it spreads so easily and evenly, it actually looks absolutely fine on my skin. One thing to note about this product is that it is very luminous. It contains vitamin C for its brightening properties and is more about giving you that awake look as opposed to concealing dark circles. So the pros are that it's really good for dry skin and great for no makeup days if you just want that bit of hydration and illumination. So there are quite a few cons to this product. So firstly, the product needs to be shaken before use, otherwise it does tend to separate. It's not great for oily skin. It's not great for covering dark circles and in fact can highlight dark circles. And it doesn't seem to last very long either, so you'll only see the impact of the concealing for perhaps an hour or two. So again, getting the claim from Revolution, they say this brightening concealer can be used to conceal blemishes, redness and seamlessly erase under eye bags for an instantly brightened effect. So I don't feel that it really erases anything, it just makes your under eyes more radiant and luminous. It claims it's for tired eyes, but when I filmed the clips, I was very tired and I felt it made me look perhaps even more tired. It kind of highlighted those under eye bags. So it's results time, and I'm sure you'll be able to guess who the winner is from my comments. But in fourth place, we have the Revolution Eye Bright Concealer. I personally wouldn't recommend anyone goes out and buys this one. In third place, we have Revolution's Conceal and Hydrate. This may work for you and it is a really good price, so perhaps go and try this if you've perhaps got more oily skin. Second place goes to the IRL Filter Finish Soft Matte Concealer. This is new to me, so I do need to play around with it a lot more. I would definitely recommend trying this if you haven't already. And that obviously means my first place concealer is Revolution's Ultimate Radiant Under Eye Concealer. Would 100% recommend that you try this. It's genuinely the best concealer I've ever tried. It beats so many of the concealers that I've tried hands down. I've got concealers from Wet n Wild, Milani, Elf, so many more in my collection, NYX, and this does beat them hands down. If you'd like a part 2 of this video where I put this Holy Grail concealer to the test against some of the other brands that I've mentioned, do let me know and I'd be happy to do that for you and prove that this really is the Holy Grail concealer. So if you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to like it and subscribe. I'd love to have you here. I feature a lot of drugstore makeup, skincare and hair care on this channel with regular testing videos and favourites. It's been great chatting with you today. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week and I'll catch you next time.